check one, check two. Hello. All right, check one, check two. Check one, check two. Okay.
Check. We good? Hello, everybody. This is Grayson Marshall Jr., the metacognition maven, the guy that gets you to believe in you. And to my left,
Dr. Adrian, never forget the age entry, the guy that you choose excellence in every part of your life.
this is the Real GM Show, and I have two amazing guests tonight.
Wow.
They are beautiful ladies from the city of Jacksonville, two ladies I admire and respect so much. To my left is soon to be Dr. Erica Wortherly. I put that out there already.
Yes.
She is amazing friend, clinical psychologist. Tell them more about you.
It's actually clinical social worker.
Social worker. I'm sorry. I got it half right.
Clinical social worker. Been living in Jacksonville most of my life. Kind of a Navy brat, so we're here by the way the Navy. I've written 2 children's books. The third one is coming out soon. I provide mental health counseling in the Jacksonville area and, well, anywhere in Florida, actually.
Line dance aficionado.
Yes!
Y'all need to check Erica out. Yeah, see?
Love to travel.
Exactly. See, that's her.
Spend a lot of time at the beach.
Exactly. She loves the beach.
Yes.
To my right, Jennifer Smith, the executive director of
The Giving Closet Project
which you started when?
in 2016.
Nonprofit, and what she does is she literally provides clothes for kids that need them, and she's got an amazing program, an amazing project. But 2 beautiful ladies that I asked to join us this week because we're going to do part 2 of the non-negotiables of dating.
Here we go.
And so I really didn't even tell them kind of what to expect because I know they're ready to do this. But last week we talked about dating, ladies, and what we did is we kind of gave some of our non-negotiables when it came to dating.
Right.
So my first one was they had to love Jesus. That's not negotiable. We're not even going there.
Right.
And then Doc gave his list of 5 that he looks for.
List of 4, only got 4 out.
Only got 4 out?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 5th one wasn't there. So we did that. So I'm going to ask you up front. I'm going to ask Erica first. what is one non-negotiable when you're dating or potentially dating a man? Give me one thing that you just, it's just non-negotiable. I don't care. That's just not happening.
Well, what you said, I agree with that. Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
you got
that's
to have the same beliefs.
Yes.
And I think we
Amen.
should go back through all of them. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta
Okay.
give it to them again. They
I'll
just-
go ahead.
So you give yours. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first one was you have to love Jesus. There's no two ways about it. You've got to love the Lord. That's a non-negotiable for me. Another non-negotiable for me is somebody that has to be fit. I want somebody who's committed to fitness. They got to have a mindset. And I said they don't have to be a fitness model, but they got to be somebody who is fit. Because I'm about being healthy, and I want somebody in my life to do that. And I think that's a big piece of what we want in our life. Because Doc, I made this conversation, Jennifer and Erica. I said, is there a certain thing that attracts you to women, and if they don't have that, should you not date? Right. So if I'm a guy that likes legs, but let's say the girl I meet might not be ample there,
Right.
but she's nice. Do I?
She's walking on chopsticks.
Yeah.
I got you.
Can I let that go if the person has that? So we were talking about all these things. Another non-negotiable I had last week was they had to be growing.
Right.
So it had to be somebody who wasn't set where they are. We've heard this
Right.
before, Eric and
Right.
Jennifer. You heard this. You just like me for who I am. This is who I'm gonna be, and I'm just gonna,
Right.
no. I'm not gonna do that. I gotta know that you are desiring to be more, whatever that is, but that you're just not done.
Right.
So those were my main three. Doc, hit 'em.
Right. So mine first one was, do we love God, stay His word, and try to live by it.
Right.
All right. We have to have a standard, some sort of standard to walk by in the relationship. We're
Right.
not just about to go off of Nikki and Sharonda advice for our relationship. Can we talk about anything and everything, right? Because I realize that most people, when they get into relationships, the euphoria is high.
Right.
The emotions are high. So they talk about everything that's great, but they never talk about anything that goes wrong. Right. And so that tends to be something that later on in a relationship you figure out, I can't communicate with this person at all.
Right.
Number 3 was emotional and social intelligence.
Yes.
Right. Are they combative, defensive, argumentative? Can they accept blame? Or is everything is someone else's fault?
Yep.
Right. Number 4 for me was, do they have the ability to be alone?
Yes, and that's a big one.
Right.
That's
right.
a big one.
Instead of jumping from relationship to relationship, are they always on the move? Are they always around people? Do they have to be on the scene? They can't stay in themselves. That's why they can't be alone. So I
we
need
talked
someone.
about last week, too, Doc. Alone means what?
Alone means whole.
Right.
Single means whole.
Right.
And if you can't be single, you can't be whole by yourself.
Right.
You don't need to be in a relationship. But I'll get my 4th one today. It'll come out.
Fifth one.
My fifth one. Yeah, I did 4.
Now, you have one. So, Jennifer, we were talking on the way over here,
Yes.
and you said you made a comment about that specifically. You said right now that you weren't dating because you had to get to where you were feeling comfortable about yourself.
Right.
Tell them what that really means to you.
Well, just like Adrian was saying, you have to feel whole, and, growing up, I was one of those girls that felt like, I had to have a boyfriend. I always wanted to have a boyfriend and being in a relationship, no matter what. And, it wasn't until just recently, I'm like, you know what, it's time to just do the work and figure out who I am, me alone,
Yeah.
whole, before going out. Because, I need to be happy with who I am before I can. It's not my job to make anybody else happy. I want to enhance somebody else's life. But until I'm where I need to be, there's really no point for me to start dating right now.
Okay, so let me ask you, being where you need to be, is that financially? Is that mentally? Is that spiritually? Is that physically? What is that? Because I think some people, and we've heard this before, when they're going to have kids, I'm not going to have kids until I have enough money saved up. I'm not going to do this thing. Well, we all know that's crazy. So when you're saying that, what does that mean? In what area specifically, if you had to put them in order, which one is most important? Mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, and emotionally? Which one?
I look at it holistically. I don't
Okay.
look at it as one. I don't want to say I need to be in the best physical shape ever. I
Okay.
want to be living my best life. And like you said, growing, we're all growing. And I think communication's key, and I'm very transparent with people that I meet. I always want to work on becoming the best version of myself, and that's never going to stop. I'm not going to hit that perfect state, but
Right.
I'll eventually get to a place where, I left my teaching career, 15 years, and started an organization. I serve students in Duval County, Palm Beach, and I'm going through a possible merger right now, and I'm working on mental health. I'm just not at a place right now where I need to add any or bring anybody else in, because I don't think it's fair to them. It's not fair.
Right.
Not now. Because if I'm going to give dating a chance and go into a relationship, I want to give it my all.
Okay.
And I'm not quite there.
Well,
Right.
both of you all are single mothers.
Yes.
Your kids are grown,
Yes.
and yours are at home. So, does that factor into anything but non-negotiables?
Yeah, even with my kids being adults, I still would want to be, I still want to maintain a certain specific standard of the person that I have around. It's not necessarily that I would want, I would say, my kids' approval, but I would want to be around somebody that they're comfortable being around
Sure.
and being in my life, where they wouldn't feel like they had to protect me or
Right.
I hope, be a guard against me. They're like, I want them to be comfortable and with anybody else that I bring in, and I say that because I've been married twice, so it's not like I've done this before,
Right.
and it hasn't worked both times. So I'm at a place now where with my kids, I've been a mom like my whole adult life. I tell people this. We've talked about this, Grayson. I've been a mom my whole adult life. So now I'm in this season of I get to just be Erica for a while. And I want to just be Erica for a while. And I'm just turned 45, but I'm still young. I got
You
time to
twerking?
just relax and be.
You're out there
I don't
twerking.
twerk, but I can wiggle a little bit. I can wiggle a little bit. I can move. But I just want to really enjoy being Erica for a while.
Absolutely.
Before I invite another person into my space to be a partner.
Let me ask you this. So you said you've been married twice. What put you on the path of I just want to be Erica for a while? Because what I notice is a lot of people, it doesn't matter how many times they've been married. They go from relationship to relationship to relationship. And I think last week someone posted on the wall, well, the right person to help you heal or change. And I was like, no, that's dumb.
It's something you got to do yourself. You got to do the work.
Absolutely. And I think most people don't understand that.
Right.
And that's why that one, can they be alone, was so important to me. Like, how often are they on the phone?
Right.
Like, you can't have peace or quiet for anything. Lets me know that inside.
You just quiet it.
Exactly.
And I can literally sit in a quiet room and be doing nothing. And other people are like, how do you... It's called peace.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
Right.
So she gave hers. You have younger kids.
I
at home.
do.
So when it's because the next question I got is with both of you. But how do you handle that? Because that's relevant in the world today. I was just looking at TikTok, and there was a girl that said she was doing her little TikTok, and she said that she was stepmama certified.
Huh?
She was marketing herself to men out there, saying she was stepmama certified. So is that something? Are you looking for a guy who would be? Is that a requirement for the guy that you date? His potential to be a stepfather to your kids?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, my girls are 9 and 7, and unless I'm planning on, waiting until they're 18 to move out, whoever I decide to have in my life or my significant other, I want the girls to be receptive to everything, and not for them to think that they're trying to replace their father, but like a bonus dad, just one other person to love them.
The bonus dad? Oh, okay. That's a good one.
We define new stuff on this show.
Yeah, obviously.
This is here. We give you another. So define dating for you, and then you define, because we talked last week, and Doc talked about it. It was never in the Bible to date. So what is dating? Because I got a couple questions that a couple people sent in, and I want to go there, but it's a topic that I think is misunderstood, and I think people have misconceptions of it or different beliefs about it. So when you're dating, what does that mean?
I would say my idea about that has changed as I got older, and I think that happens for a lot of people.
Yes.
Okay.
But at this point now, it's really about getting to know a person, getting comfortable around them, getting to know their ideals, their habits, things like that, and then finding out if if you're compatible. It's like, and what are you looking for? And what you mentioned about being friends. Like, can we be friends? Which means that you can't necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily say you would put a timeline on it, but I think now at this point in my life, I would be able to identify certain things fairly quickly because there's some things that I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
And I think, and then Coach did a podcast interview Friday, right? And it was so interesting because the notion of many of the women that had sent questions in was men should know faster when they want to be in a relationship with you. So these women are literally measuring a man based off of how fast he jumps into a relationship with them. And so I switched the point. I said that sounds crazy. So you're ready to get into a relationship with someone you don't know just because the clock is ticking. And I find that a lot of females have been like that. I mean, honestly, in this day, I did the was it Tinder? I tried the Tinder joint. Listen, I've had some things go on with Tinder. It made me stop dating completely. Like, I've been catfished. People were giving their high school graduation pictures. We in our 30s. So
be whoever you want to be.
Obviously. But I realize women now are so fixated on jumping into a relationship, and most people are, instead of really courting. And I look back at the Bible, right? So I look at Ruth and Boaz.
Right.
Ruth was already the person she was going to be. Right? Boaz courted her. He went out and looked and questioned and asked about her character before he ever went to meet her. So it's amazing how, if I look at examples of dating in the Bible, Boaz was actually finding out who her character was long before he got married to her. Today it's opposite. I meet you, I like you, let's get into a relationship. I don't know you.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is you can hide it. Your representative can hide for a little bit. But as soon as you get stressed out or that insecurity, something touches that insecurity, oh no.
So let me ask you this, ladies. Dating sites. It's very common. I want y'all to talk about this. It's very common that you see women, Doc, Petty and Easy. You see women that'll say looking for long-term relationship, looking for my husband, looking for my significant other, right off the bat. It's very rare that I see one that says I'm looking for my friend. I'm looking to get in. Why is that? And I think that has a lot to do with what Doc was saying. Why do you think that is? I'll go Jennifer first. I'll come to you.
And I want to piggyback off of what Adrian said because I don't think it's just women. Guys are the same way. I mean, it's let's date, and what dating is not jumping and changing your Facebook status to in a relationship in 2 weeks. Dating is not after a week and a half saying I love you, you're the one.
Exactly.
It is not. I mean, these are the things that have scared me away from dating. And married men out there that say they're divorced, they're not divorced. They're married. They're working through their stuff still.
I've seen the serial daters, and it's so crazy.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, I prayed for this man, I prayed for this woman, and here she is. That was 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? 2 more weeks, 3 weeks. Why do people act like this? It's like, wait a minute. Why are you dumb enough to put I love this person in relationship status on in 2 weeks? And I think that really is, I really see that people are trying to fill a hole that's inside of themselves. Correct. And they're trying to do it by other people.
Right, yes.
And so what I find when I look at men and women, we're always having this conversation of, we need to understand men, or women need to understand men, and men need to understand women, right? And that's so far from the truth, right? Men are from Venus, women are from Mars, and we have these notions that we're so much different, and women are trying to figure us out. And the reality is we're so much alike that we don't even see it, right? Yeah. And so trying to figure out women, I've given up on that notion, right? In general, I've given up on that notion because I really feel as though I have to understand if I'm courting Erica, if I'm trying to be in a relationship with Erica, the only person I need to understand as female-wise is Erica.
Right.
Because Erica's going to be different from Jennifer.
Right.
So if I'm fixated on understanding everybody at an individual level, we build deeper relationships. However, we go in with these notions that we know what they want. Right. Listen, I went to school for cooking. I said it before. If you think you're going to cook for me and keep me, it's probably not going to happen, boo. I clean. I've been cleaning since I was pre-elementary. You know what I'm saying? Like pre-kindergarten. Right. I can do that for myself, bro. But if you think that's sex. If you want to keep a man, you gotta have great sex. Listen, we're honest on this show.
Yes.
I've had a lot, and it's not gonna be. So, but you have to understand what makes that individual tick.
Right.
And I don't think people really understand that. They want to find the magic bullet. They want to understand us as a whole. Coach and I are completely different. I like to cut the grass. You know what I'm saying? I like working with my hands.
Nobody agree.
Back to that honeymoon phase thing that you were talking about, though. So many people misinterpret. They think they're in love, but again, it's that honeymoon phase. It's the euphoric state that they're in, and they think that's it. But once that wears off, do you really know that person?
Absolutely not.
You know?
And I think the reality of it is that when you look at it, it's not even that. It's we don't know what love is, and I'm convinced of that because we don't even have unconditional love for ourselves.
Right.
We're still fighting with the dynamics of who we are the whole entire time, and we can't give that to anybody. So here we go. Questions right here. I got these today, and I want to ask you all these. Is it acceptable to date more than one person at a time?
Serial dating.
Is it so hold on. So is it okay? So if you're dating one person, only dating one, right?
No, when I'm playing
I
ball with
used to
me,
say no serial dating. It's gross. How can you do that? But now with the way all the dating sites, I mean, how are you supposed to really get to know someone? I don't know. I don't know anymore.
All right, Erica, can you date more than one? Because here's my contention is the way the world is today. If I like you, and I express that, then we're dating.
No,
But that's the way I'm saying. That's the way the world is.
Both ways.
it has to go both ways.
Yes.
You have to make a decision. At some point, okay, I know I'm a little bit different from a lot of
No.
other women, but
Yeah.
at some point you have to decide, okay, we are in a relationship.
I've heard that too.
Which is different from we're hanging out, we're spending
right.
time together. And I guess I could say, like, I wouldn't, like I said before, dating is kind of getting that phase of getting to know each other.
I got you.
So, at some point, and there's no time limit, I don't think so, like a range of time, but
Right.
like, okay, well, after 3 months,
Right.
if he hasn't said then I'm out. No, I don't think it quite works.
But you know
like
that's
that.
out there, right? You know that's out there, right?
I know that. People have time limits and deadlines.
You're a unicorn in this world of dating, Erica. I'm telling you, you are a unicorn.
But I think that also goes with, like, what we've all talked about. Is like people knowing themselves. You got to actually know what you want, know what you're looking for,
Right.
and be able to kind of pick that out. So I may call it hanging out. I may not call it dating, and I may be talking to somebody else, and I might hang out with this other person. But I'm like, I don't want either one of y'all. I don't feel like I was dating either one of
Okay.
you.
Hanging out. From hanging out first. Like, I thought
okay.
dating's
But-
totally
okay,
different from
but-
hanging
Maybe
out.
we'll go to lunch,
Okay.
or maybe we'll have some
Right.
coffee.
Yep.
We might even go to a movie. I don't know if we're going to the movie.
You coffee? No.
No. But so
Yeah.
this is good because I asked this question last week, and the question was, if you and I hung out on Monday night for dinner, and I went out to dinner with her on Thursday night, and you found out about it, will you go back out with me on Saturday?
I mean, we're not necessarily in a relationship. We're just hanging out.
Yes, absolutely.
Once I
Yes.
said,
Yes.
once
If you're
again,
being
Okay.
transparent and communicating with me that you're talking to other people and we're not exclusively dating yet, absolutely.
So
Why
again,
not?
unicorns.
Okay, because I found a good one. This is not a setup. We're not trying to get on the here. They're really giving their own opinion right here.
I have not seen that to be true in this jungle called dating. That's all. Like, I mean, that's all. The grim reality is, it's become so emotional. You gotta talk about. I always said it, and Coach was, whew. So one time, and I'll give a story, right? So one time, young lady, I told her, you know what I mean? I don't believe in jumping in relationships. That's not who I am, right? I believe in we are friends first.
Right.
Yeah, you're attracted to me, but we're friends first.
Right.
And if it organically grows into something else, I'm completely fine with that. I told her this. Let's say it's a Monday.
On a Monday.
Oh, this is a Monday,
Yeah.
right? So by Thursday, Wednesday, we had never went out anywhere. We just talked on the phone. So by Wednesday, she asked me a question, and I was playing. I said, I don't see no rings on these fingers. And she was like, but aren't you courting me? I mean, she went off, and I'm like, whoa, crazy?
Yes, exactly
But
what I'm thinking.
but what I'm finding,
Right.
but what I find is this is literally a norm in dating
Yes,
today.
yes.
And I find people are literally trying to make individuals be in a relationship
Right.
with them, or they're saying, "I don't have time to waste."
Right.
Yeah.
And my contention is this: you can jump into a relationship, but all you're doing is hurting yourself further.
Right.
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 And you're bringing on so much pain, or rejection, or bitterness, or deepening that insecurity by jumping in relationship before
Yeah.
vetting that person completely.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people would love to do what y'all are saying, get to know people. But truthfully, when you go to do that, so y'all want honesty. So if I tell you I went out, Erica, we went out, we had a good time, everything was cool. Thursday night, I'm going out with Jennifer. I usually don't hear from Erica no more.
Right. Oh yeah, that's true.
All right, that's real talk.
That's true.
That is the honest truth.
But okay, so with the date, first of all, I don't have time to sit and message with you for 3 weeks before. Let's just hurry up and get this over with and go have coffee or go have lunch. Or I want to meet you first, because if I'm putting this much time and effort into communicating via text message with somebody for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then you're telling me that you're going, like, let's go out first. Let's figure this out. No, I think transparency is key
Okay,
here.
so what you're saying is that you want to go find. So if you, so me and you texting
Yes.
for a week, 2 weeks,
Yes.
and then we go out, and we like each other.
Yep.
I'm going out with Erica tomorrow night. What's up then?
How are you going to say it? Hey, by the way, I'm going out.
No, I don't know how to say it.
Conversation. I don't know how to have. Because we're going out. Because we're going
I
to do
mean,
coffee.
maybe at dinner.
We're going to do coffee. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Dinner?
I mean, maybe
not
you're
invested.
talking about it.
No, but how do you?
Are
Okay,
you talking to other people?
I'm not
How's your
invested.
luck going with the dating scene?
okay. So how do you have that conversation? So how do I say that? If so, I was seeing Erica, or we were getting to know each other, right? That's what it was, getting to know each other.
Right.
So now you and I have been talking, and all of a sudden we go out, we like each other, we have coffee, we like each other, and then the next night I'd already had plans with her. So how do I have that conversation? How would you be okay? No, tell me how you would be okay with that conversation to where you wouldn't have a problem with it. I could go out on a date with her, and you and I would still be cool.
One, I would have probably canceled the date if it really went that well. Or two, I would have gone out and been completely honest with the person I was on the date with and said, I just want to let you know, I know we had plans, but last night things went really, really well. I'm probably going to pursue and see how things go.
I've never heard that before.
What? Okay, well, I probably
I'll be honest with you.
I would've
That sounds real PC right now. That sounds real PC right now. It sounds good in theory. But that one, I've never even heard something like that come out.
Really?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't come out. It has never come out.
Then I would have canceled. If it was that good, I
Okay,
would've-
so if I really liked you, then I should cancel with her. So basically, what you're saying is that if I like you,
Then
I
it means
can't.
you're exclusive
right now.
It needs to be exclusive right now.
Again, if you thought I was the one, you would have canceled, or you could have been like, you know, it's
But I thought I was supposed to be.
out there.
But I thought I was supposed to be getting to know you.
I don't know. It's up to you.
And that's what I mean.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what we've been saying.
Exactly.
When it comes to this relationship thing is crazy.
It is.
So I gotta have to put Georgette.
Okay.
She says, I'm sorry, but if we're doing the hanging around thing, one thing for 6 months without knowing if we're exclusive or moving on. Well, what do you think? 6
no
months?
situationships. No.
Do you think 6 months is long enough to say
Hanging
Hanging
that?
out
Is
for
6
6
months long enough?
months is a
Oh, that's-
situationship.
That's
no.
too long. I'm just asking. Look, Georgette brought it up. Is that too long?
It depends.
I think
I need
in
more.
the getting to know each other process, you gotta let a person know what it is you want.
Absolutely.
Right.
So if your intent is, okay, I just want to have a friend. I'm not ready for marriage. I'm not want to, then let
Again,
a person know that.
communication.
If you let a person know, hey, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to be able to do these things. Those things should be discussed, especially in a 6 month period. Those conversations.
No.
And then if one or the other is not getting their needs met within that time period, then somebody needs to move on.
Okay.
And to
And
me,
I can understand that. I can understand 6 months time frame. At some point, someone has to say something.
Right.
But at the
During that 6 months.
But during that 6
Are
months.
we exclusive?
yes.
What?
6 months.
No, I'm just.
I'm not hanging out with anybody after 6 months. I would like to know either then that we're dating
No, I'm saying-
exclusively, or I've already
No.
moved on.
What
to
I'm saying
that.
is during the 6 months that we're getting to know each other.
Right.
Am I just dating you during that 6 months?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
I need that answer. That's what I'm trying to. Because I think because here's the point. If dating, so what you're saying is when you're dating someone, and this is why we're having a discussion. Your mindset is if I like you, then it's us getting to know each other, and then we don't like each other no more. You go your way, I go mine.
Right.
So what you're saying is that while I'm liking you, I can't have interest in anybody else. Right? That's what you're saying. And that's why, look, if that's the way it is, I'm just asking
and
that.
I literally had that happen in 2 weeks.
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
we're friends. We just met, just talked. I talked to you on Monday. I might talk to you on Wednesday. We're
Right.
friends. We just met.
Right.
2 weeks later, it's like you're breadcrumbing me.
Bread
And you don't want
Breadcrumbing.
That's the first time I ever heard that.
We got a whole lot of new now. We got new verbiage on it. We gonna do our own dating
Meaning,
dictionary.
you're holding me in the middle of the road while you talk to other people. So literally, she was ready to be in a relationship within that 2 week span.
But did she let you know that she was ready for a relationship
Wow.
right now?
No.
Well, that's a communication.
Yes. Communication
That's her
is
communication
key.
issue. Because I communicated up front. I communicated up front with my because I look at it like this. I got married my first time in 6 months. I only been married once. I got married in 6 months, right?
I did too.
I did not know who I was dealing with. And even the things that I did see prior to, I kind of let them go, right? That end of that relationship was a lifetime movie. I'm talking about like everything. You would not, you was like, wait a minute. You ever get confused about what's going on?
Yes.
Is this the
Yeah.
Twilight Zone?
Yep.
So I got out of that relationship and I'm on the tail end of my divorce in this one.
Right.
And I meet someone else and I'm very attracted to her. She's beautiful. Everything seems lovely. So guess what? We end up in another relationship. That one wasn't the Twilight Zone, but it was definitely
The danger zone.
somewhere. It was somewhere in there. So that was 3 years of something that emotionally was probably the most emotional thing I've been through
Right.
ever been through in my life, right? So now I'm fixated on understanding the individual that I'm talking to, right? I'm fixated on understanding Jen. I'm fixated on understanding Erica. To not only to know your personality, but also how to serve you. My end goal is marriage.
Right.
And I let everyone know that from the beginning.
Right.
However, there are things like we're talking about now, the non-negotiables, that I won't deal with.
Right.
Right? And I've seen it in other people. And it's not a man or a woman thing, it's a characteristic thing.
Right.
It's
Yep.
a personality thing. It's a
Right.
pattern thing. And so once I start identifying people's patterns, it became a lot easier for me to say, let's sit down and have coffee. And by the end of coffee, I know you ain't the one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you gotta
That's what I'm
ask
saying.
questions. You can't
Right.
just accept everything that's said without asking specific questions. Like we're talking about non-negotiables.
Right.
You have to kind of have in mind already what are the things that I want to know about this person,
Right.
and what would be the non-negotiables. I mean, if they don't meet those initial 4 criteria, well, we know, okay, this is not going to go
Right.
any further than
Right.
friendship. I'm not saying I can't be your friend,
Right.
but I know that it's not going to go further than that. We're
Right.
not going
Right.
to become an exclusive relationship or partnership because I'm only focused on my growth. I
Right.
can't
Correct.
grow you to
Correct.
get you to
Right.
the place where I need
Correct.
you to be.
Exactly.
But I think that a lot of it has to do, like you mentioned, like personality types. People, and then also like expectations based on how you were raised and things like that. There's outside influences
Right.
from other people.
Right.
And when you gonna get married? Well, y'all been dating or you hadn't dated in a while. You need to go ahead and find you. Whatever the case might be,
Yes.
and we kind of get caught up in that, or
Right.
people, get caught up in that, and they try to make things instant.
Right.
Well, it's not an instant process.
No.
And it seems like it goes both ways. It's guys and girls. It's like they want something right
Right.
now,
No, I agree.
and they don't really know who they're with.
No, and I think men have gotten more emotional in this day and age because of their emasculation. They've been hurt. Because I think oftentimes it goes that the man gets hurt and it's not acknowledged as much. So they carry all of that same pain into the next one as well. It's a challenge. So let me ask you this. A question too, y'all. I got this avoid. When dating, is it non-negotiable to give up the friendships with members of the opposite sex? So if we start dating and Jennifer is my friend, do I have to give up my friendship with Jennifer when I'm dating you, or vice versa? Oh, look at his face over here, boys.
Because that question,
I got
there's
that
a
right,
gray
Mark.
area. I mean, there's people who are like, oh, she's a friend, she's a friend, she's a friend. And it's not an appropriate friendship.
Okay,
out
but
the
that's
gate.
what we're asking.
Well, if you know
But-
it's not inappropriate relationship, yes.
Right.
But if
No,
it's
I
a
mean-
friend, it's okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Everybody good with
I'd
that?
say so.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I'm good.
We good with that?
Yeah.
All
I'm good. I give you rope to hang yourself.
right. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Let's see. I got one more.
It says,
How often should people see each other when dating? How often to consider dating, how often should people see each other if they're dating?
A couple times a week.
A couple times a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then that depends whether it's
long distance.
long distance or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a couple of different
Variables.
factors with that.
Okay.
I mean, I would say at least once a week,
Okay.
and
Right.
depending on how long it is, work schedules, things like that. You know, but I'd say probably at least once a week.
With the world that we're in right now,
Lord help me, I'm scared.
is virtual dating, would that be considered one of your two? Or would virtual dating be considered one of the two engagements during the week?
I'm not, I mean, FaceTime, everybody FaceTimes. I'm not gonna,
Would that be a date though?
no.
Okay, it's not a date.
Well, it could be though. I saw some
Okay,
people
I'm
get
at this is what,
frustrated.
yeah, I want to.
FaceTime happy out. Yeah, I mean,
Like,
Yes.
I saw
Okay.
people that, like, say for example,
Cook
like
dinner.
the boyfriend, like they may cook dinner together,
Right, I got you.
but they bring later on FaceTime and
I
there,
got
or the boyfriend may order dinner for the girlfriend, and then they watch the same movie, and then they talk about the movie while they're watching, something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
And I thought that was
Okay.
And I-
it's cute.
And I
No,
guess
it's cute.
I would say once again, it's still based off of relationship, the two people in a relationship, and I think that's where even these questions are geared towards let me have a right answer. There is no right
Right.
answer for
Right.
individual situations.
Right.
And I noticed Danielle says if everyone would just be transparent up front. The problem is
Yeah.
most people aren't transparent
Exactly.
because transparent means vulnerability.
Right.
Yep.
If I have to be vulnerable, then I'm fearful. I'm scared,
Right.
right? So when we all say that, I hear everyone say, if everybody just tell the truth and be, and be transparent up front. The reality is, anytime you're dating, you go into a job interview
Right.
mode,
Right.
right?
Right.
So what
Yeah.
you do is you
It's
put
almost
your
like a default mode.
correct. So you're putting your best foot forward, right? And I've realized this over the years that people say things that sound good and won't get them rejected, right?
Correct.
So one thing is people. So you have one of was it time? One of the love language is quality time.
Quality time, right.
Well, the opposite of that is being needy, right? So if I need quality time, but it's seen as needy, the negative connotation of it,
Right.
I will no longer say that I need quality time because I want to be accepted by the other person
Correct.
and not rejected. So many times when we step into a relationship, you say the things that sound good, even though it's a desire or need that you have. And I
Right.
find so many people going through relationships and they're silent and they're hurting and they're angry and they're frustrated. The reason they're frustrated is because they lied at the beginning, but now they want that very thing and they're not
Right.
getting it. And it's because they weren't being transparent.
Right.
I can be as transparent as possible. You can create whatever you want in your mind.
Right.
I can tell you, you know what? I'm a male hoe. I'm going to sleep with everybody.
Right.
In your mind, you can come up with the conclusion, I can change him.
Right.
I was honest,
Right.
but you wanted to come up with your own
Right.
notion of
Yeah.
what was about to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So transparency means nothing to most people because guess what? They don't live by it. They
And-
figure out what they
Right.
want in their head.
Exactly, and I think the other side of that too, Doc, is that if I am transparent, then people run the risk of, like you said, not being accepted. Because if I say something that I'm where I am, usually, here's what it is. If I like you, and then I'm honest with you, and then you reject me, then I'm hesitant to really say that because you really haven't given me a chance
Right.
to get to know me. You judge me based on this one comment I made or this one thing that I said or behavior. So we're not really getting to know people. So it's kind of like a contradiction. I want to get to know you, but the minute I do something that is not on your list,
I'm judged for it.
I'm done. I'm judged for it and I'm gone. So I think when we're transparent, when you want to say those things to people, I think again, we don't know what they're looking for. I think that's part of it too. I think people be transparent. Again, it would be easier to have commentary if I knew what you were looking for. So when I go for the job, I know what the job requires.
Correct.
So I'm gonna tell you exactly
Correct.
what the job. I'm gonna say what I need to do to get the job.
Correct.
And I think we don't know, and because most people are interviewing, no matter who they're dating, they're basing it on a preconceived concept of the past experiences that they've had.
Correct.
They're not judging this person by this person. It's a standard. Now I'm asking you to this. Do you have a list?
Of sorts, yeah.
What about
Yeah, there's certain boxes you have to check.
you? Okay, give me 2 boxes that have to be checked.
You can't be married. You gotta have one.
Yes.
I mean, 2. I mean, I don't.
That is a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable for her. You can't be married.
She said she was
Or going through the process, or I mean, a
gotta
lot
be
of
done.
people done.
Done.
Like
I
cut.
got you.
You've healed. You're in a
Okay,
better place.
I got you.
And just somebody who, I don't know, I don't like a know-it-all. You know, I want somebody that understands that they're not perfect, they have flaws. I think transparency is key, and communication is huge for me. And I can kind of read people really well and can tell when they're kind of sugarcoating and act like everything's, I don't know.
Well, if you could be judgmental of another person, you're not truthfully honest with who you are anyway.
Correct.
Right.
And so a lot of times when you find those people who are highly judgmental, directly, it's an insecurity so
No
deep
doubt.
that's inside of them. It's an insecurity.
And they deflect, and it's
Absolutely,
you.
and,
Yeah.
and everyone else. So that's why my third was emotional and social, because I can see that, and that's why I only created a list of 5. I only looked for characteristics.
Right.
I wasn't looking for anything else because I can deal with other things. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't like to cook, I can deal with that. You get what I'm saying? I can deal with those things, but I can't deal with the character things.
Right.
I can't deal with the arguing, the fussing, the yelling, the
Yeah.
screaming. I can't. I just can't.
So with those 5,
I love that.
And my
do,
fifth,
do looks matter?
I think looks have to matter.
Yeah.
Okay, we talking to y'all.
No, when we're saying catering, do looks matter, guys. But I think we have to.
You have to be attracted to
I have
somebody.
to, exactly.
You know?
I'm not going over there if, honesty to you, like it's like I really don't want to get to know you if you look like that.
And then when I told people, and I mentioned it on my podcast, but I'm like, I have a height requirement. You got to be 6 feet or above.
Okay.
I swear part of the issue with my last marriage was he was 5'11", and that was if I had not negotiated.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
That one that killed your whole marriage.
If I hadn't negotiated on that one, I'm never negotiating on that one
You know
again.
what? If you believe that, please, our services.
Somebody got someone there? What you got?
The right person won't judge. Most people, regardless, lie about how they are or what they want in a relationship.
Right.
Some say one thing, do another. Types of people that hope you fall in love with and then show their true colors. Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's why I say friendship first.
Yeah.
So we talked about you going to interview mode, right? When you, and this is what I had to do after getting out the second relationship, right? The second relationship, I was in that place where, I just wanted companionship, somebody to chill with.
Right.
Somebody lay with, whatever, you
Right.
know what I mean? I was in that mode.
Yeah.
And the more I began to read and study and start identifying, looking at what was going on in here with
Right.
me and shedding all the trauma from all the past
Was
relationships.
it a rebound? How much time was it
I don't think
between?
it was a rebound. It was just we were both broken.
Right, okay.
And so when I'm looking at her brokenness, she looking at my brokenness, she was going through a divorce, I was going through a divorce. It seems as though we were supposed to,
Right.
you know what I mean? It was like her kids were A's, A names, my kids were A names. You think of
Yeah,
all
I
kinda
done put
crazy
together
stuff.
some scenarios in my life, boy. Oh, Jesus.
But the reality was, what I began to realize is I stopped dating and start doing the friendship thing. And this is the reason why. When I began to do the friendship thing, I took away all of expectations of what could happen. Right?
Yeah.
So I went into it with the notion of I'm just going to get to know this person.
Right.
We're just going to sit down and have dinner.
Yeah.
We're just going to sit down and eat. That's it. So I was able to alleviate all the anxiety you have when you step into a relationship. I don't care what I tell you. You're a friend, and that's what most people do when they are in a friendship relationship. You can be naked and vulnerable.
Yeah.
When you're going to date someone, what you start doing is finding ways to guard yourself and hide yourself of the things you don't want the other person to see.
Right.
Yes.
So that's why I went to, you know what, let's shift this all together. So if you don't call me back, I'm good.
Right.
We was just going out to eat anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it allowed me to look at people from a different perspective.
Right.
It allowed me
I
to,
agree with that.
let's say, get intimate with people because I can be open with you because I don't care anyway. If you leave today, oh, well, no problem. I'll let your boy. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't here to be in a relationship. I was here to get to know who you were.
But do you believe that people have that belief that this could be the relationship, or I'm hoping this is the relationship, and they walk into it and they have that feeling,
I
right?
think that's natural.
Yeah.
Like, this could be the one. This could be the one.
Right. And
How many times
I,
have you heard your friends say that?
no, I'm that way. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this could be the one. I think that allows me not to be prejudicial about the last one walking in. But based on what you said,
Well, I think it allows you to be. Because
Right.
you're already fixated on where it's going. Like, that's
Right.
the thing. That's the expectation when I say this could be the one.
Right.
Because now I'm already focusing on where this could
got you.
go.
I got
Focus
you.
on the future.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So for me, I don't know who you are. You get
Right.
what I'm saying? All I seen was you. You seem cute.
Right.
We decided to go out to eat.
right,
That's a wrap.
Right.
But I have to get to know you from that standpoint. And I
Right.
can't judge you based off the last one because if I really think about it, the last one was screwed up. I want to get married one day. She could be the one, but what if this happens? No, I don't want to do that.
okay. So that scenario, you meet the girl, y'all go out.
Mhm.
You really ain't feeling it.
Mhm.
Do you tell her?
We can talk. We can be friends. With this friendship.
Well, I'm
We
saying,
can talk.
but do you let
If
she liked you?
if
You
she's
didn't.
crazy.
You didn't
If she's crazy, she gets no call back. I'm just be honest with you. There's no text messages,
Right.
no clapping
Right.
pigeons. There is nothing happening with the crazy one at all. And I've been there.
Yeah.
Coach, I gotta tell a story. right?
tell that one, please.
So I was
Tell us one.
So I was on Tinder. It's, like I said, I was trying to find, companionship, whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't, it's companionship because I can find sex anywhere. And I tell
Right.
people that. It's easy to find sex. It's harder to find companionship.
Right.
So we go on a date, right? So I get to her house. She said I lived about 5 minutes around the corner. So I get there, it was like 15 minutes. So I'm out front. She said, just call me when you get here. I call, I say, hey, I'm out front. So I'm sitting in the driveway, right? So 5 minutes roll past, 10 minutes roll past. Now, Adrian's brain kicks in. She trying to set you up to rob you. So I put my gun on my lap. I protect myself and still carry.
Yes.
But I put it on my lap, right? So she comes outside and she's smoking a blunt.
Oh.
And she puts it out on my tire. Like, you don't understand this dating world that we're in, right?
Oh, gosh.
So at that point, it's like we all gonna meet for coffee because I need to see if you're sane first
Yep.
because it's been real. If I
with you
can
on
give
the
you some more.
coffee date,
I can
yeah.
give you some more stories. You be like, what?
I'm with you. That's why I have not made it past 2 weeks on any dating app, and every time I delete, I'm like, never again. And then a year rolls around, I'm like, I'll give it a try. Nope,
I deleted it the first time. I'm telling you, about 5 or 6. He's like, you know what? The app bogus.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. In this world today, what's the best way to meet somebody? If you're not on dating apps, if you're not, what is the best way to meet somebody? Because is it being in? Okay, so you do nonprofits.
Yes.
You work with kids. You're a former teacher.
Yeah.
Would you be in that space trying to find that person,
It's kind
or
of hard to meet somebody, and I talk to my best friend about this, Danielle, all the
Danielle, right.
time, and I'm over the whole dating site thing. And how many times do you hear somebody say, "I really just want to meet somebody organically"? Okay, well, where are you going to meet them? Church, grocery store, bars, restaurants, things like that. But you go out of those places, but do you really know just by seeing what their story is?
no? You don't.
No.
So how do we do that today? I don't know.
I think now it's easier than ever, to be honest with you.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a dating site. I really believe interacting with someone else, the opposite sex, is completely different. I remember growing up, you had to go to the mall, you had to get numbers on a piece of paper, don't lose a piece of paper, call them. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot more.
But
Pages,
guys
get
aren't
my
like you.
pages.
There's a lot of people who are scared. They've been hiding behind the screen for so long. They're not comfortable going and approaching a woman like
Absolutely.
you or Grayson would be.
Absolutely.
So we need to bring that back. Guys need to learn how to interact with women again, besides sending a nude pic.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They love to
I mean,
send a
that's
number.
yes.
But They love the single member. But
Guys don't know how to date anymore.
but
They
I don't
don't.
think, but at the same token, and I'll give most men credit for this. We don't know how to do it anymore. You know, most men now, we don't have to do it. You know, Coach married for how many years?
20 years.
It's hard. Like you're going back into that scene,
Yeah.
but now I also see that the women have the same type of mentality as men
do.
now.
No, correct.
So now it used to be I come to a woman and I speak to a woman, she was a woman. I walk to a woman now and speak to a woman, she might be a savage. She might talk crazy, and, but that's what you're up against now. You're not back then. They'd be like, no, I'm not really.
And they don't need no dude. I mean, that's the whole mindset now. I don't need no man. I got mine, and they let you know that.
Right.
So now all of a sudden we can't. We talked about this before. It's kind of hard to date and be that guy when the woman doesn't need you, doesn't want you, doesn't want any of that in your life. So it makes it challenging for us. The other thing too is that I do think the chivalry is gone,
Yep.
and it surprises people when I open the door, or when I do those things. Like I've had people say, "Why'd you open my door?" What do you mean? Why I open your door? I'm supposed to, right?
I'll pull out the chair.
Yeah,
I've had people just look at me crazy, like, really, did you want to sit here? I'm like, no, it's for you.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of that going on.
Georgette said, shoot.
Dating etiquette.
She said, with TikTok and Facebook, why you need a dating app?
Oh, you know what? That you in Lawrence, South Carolina. That's your problem right there. Talking noise in Lawrence, South Carolina. She a mess.
The right person
Georgette,
won't
good girl.
judge you. If you've had sex with a friend, you're absolutely crazy if you think I'm going to be alone with that friend. If you're going to be alone with that friend.
So that was my last question of the night. How long should it be before you have sex while you're dating?
Oh.
How long do you have to date someone before having sex?
That's not a question that any of us should have to answer.
Why not?
I don't know.
Why not? How long should you wait?
There's not a right or wrong answer here. I mean, what do you say? 2 weeks, a month, 6 months? I mean, I think every situation, it's all different. You don't know.
In my opinion, the only time genuinely plays a factor is if you have either one or both parties that said, I will not have sex until,
Okay.
you know what I mean? And, you know, until a certain point in the relationship, whether that's like a time frame or marriage. But that's also something, in my opinion, the question needs to come up early.
Danielle said 3 dates. BG says marriage, which biblically.
That's what I'm saying. Like
marriage.
everybody has
It's different,
theirs.
yeah.
And I want to help women out real quick, right? Because it bothers me to my soul.
Okay.
Steve Harvey's book, Act Like a Man, Think Like a Woman, with Camera Mom over here. That 90-day rule is false. It's a lie. Don't believe it. If you have the book, burn it. But the reality is, because a man will wait 10 years to sleep with a woman and never talk to her again.
Right.
So it's still based off an individual level, and I hate that book because it was so opinionated.
Right.
And it had really no facts. You got women running around here thinking they know men now because they read the book. No, you don't know them. Understand it's always going to be an individual.
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
to learn that individual. And people want to get past the hard work of actually communicating and asking the hard questions.
Yeah.
People don't know what love is, but you're out there looking for love.
Correct.
If I ask 10 people what the definition of love is, I'm going to get 10 different answers.
No question.
People don't know the true definition of loyalty. However, you're looking for loyalty. So you're getting into a relationship with someone that has a completely different definition of it.
Right.
So how are we going to really seek out something without defining myself and having the other person define what their understanding is, right?
Go back to the sex question. Here's the deal. Let me ask you something. If we have that conversation and somebody says, well, it'll be a year before we have sex, does that stop the relationship?
I don't think so.
No?
Depends
Does
on the
that-
person. If they're worth it, I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'm just
And I know people who are happily married 20 years later that had sex on the first date. And then I know people who waited till marriage
Absolutely.
to have sex and they're no longer together.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think every situation and person is
But
different.
we're here. So biblically, I want to put this back out there, guys. Biblically, you should not be having sex into marriage. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so let's go right there. Should you?
I don't want to go there.
No, we want
Air.
you. So, do you test drive the car before?
Listen, I don't want to go there
Oh
on
my
air.
gosh.
I'm asking. Do you test drive the car before?
It should be marriage, but
I get it. I get it.
But oh my. That's exactly what she said. But oh my.
I'm just saying. I mean, do you? And if you agree that you should test drive the car,
I do.
do you? Okay, so what's it?
Sorry,
So
I
if you
do.
test drive the car, do you test drive it after 7 months, 8 months?
We can't.
Yeah,
You
you
can't
can't
establish
do
that. You can't put a time frame on it.
Because it's
You
good,
can't.
like, you got two different,
You have it.
individuals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You just-
How
no
much
matter
have they
where
talked? How
are
much
in
have
their-
exactly? It's
Right.
always going to
In
be
their
on their
life
own
and-
journey.
This is for them. This ain't for us.
What?
Yeah.
I'm asking y'all. Y'all need to type in.
So
Because we gonna hold it out. Everybody here gonna hold it out. Except
Nicholas
Jennifer.
says,
Jennifer ain't gonna hold it out. Jennifer told y'all she wasn't holding out.
Nicholas says marriage, but that's not ideal. I'm sorry. For a man after sex, no matter when, the chase, the thrill is gone. Ooh.
Oh, that's a whole nother
Oh.
topic right
You
there.
know what? Ugh. Why you open them can of worms, Nick?
Nick, ouch.
What did he say? He says for men after sex, no matter when, the chase, the thrill is gone.
So what? So
And
Nick,
I'll be honest with you.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you. And that's why I had to go. And I talked about it before. I went through the celibacy for a year and a half, right? Because that was Adrian. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
After
Right.
I've had sex with you, anything you ask me drives me crazy. It used to drive me crazy. It's like, let's go to dinner. Oh my God. Gold digger. Like it really bothered the heck out of me. Like anything that you did after that point. But I realized I was no longer attracted to the sex anymore.
right.
You know what I mean? Like sex is just physical.
Right.
And it had to be mental or emotional for me to actually stay engaged with any woman. Like I had to be able to communicate with you, talk to you,
Right.
you know, chill with you on a regular basis. A
Right.
big button and smile didn't do it for your boy anymore. And man,
Right.
you've had that conversation.
Right.
I was actually in a relationship with my ex-girlfriend, and we were laying in bed. I didn't want to have sex with her because
Right.
I knew, beautiful woman, very nice body, I didn't want to have sex with her.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me realize that I wasn't mentally and mentally and emotionally
Right.
connected to her
Right.
anymore.
You need it, but you know, we keep saying just sex, sex, sex. I mean, when you're with the right person, it's more than just sex. I mean, it is connected and
Exactly.
passionate and
Right.
everything. And when you have that with somebody, you want that more. You want to continue that. It's not meaningless to you. Like sex to me is just sex.
I'm not
not
messing
connected.
with Georgette no more. I'm
Just
not.
why?
What
What you
Georgette
said.
I'm not messing with
What
her.
she said?
That's crazy.
She just need to get off the line. I can't talk
God.
to her no more. She told me, she said, yes, sir, because of working with an inchworm, neither of us going to be happy. I need Georgette to just get off.
Georgette crazy.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh, Georgette.
But I think that's a question. I think that's something that needs to be communicated to.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm big on words, and I'm big on words because I understand that most people do not understand words. They know where to put them in sentences. And
Exactly.
I understand that
I like
most
that.
words
Yep.
are arbitrary.
Right.
You've never been taught that word. It's something that you learn by watching someone else. To me, loyalty, right? If you go to the dictionary, loyalty, and everyone says, I'm loyal, I'm loyal, I'm loyal. But it says to have complete allegiance to.
Right.
Complete allegiance to.
Right.
That means me and Coach friends, if I'm loyal to Coach, I can't go behind his back and talk
Right.
about him.
Right.
Right.
Whereas you're in a relationship and you run and tell all the nonsense your man or your female
Exactly.
did, you're
Right.
no longer
Exactly.
loyal. You've
Exactly.
cheated on them.
Exactly.
But if you don't have a true definition of that word,
Right.
you
Right.
think you're loyal and it only means sex, right?
Right.
Right.
So if our definitions don't match,
Correct.
we already have a conflict.
That's good right there,
And that's
right.
why I believe
That's
more
good.
people, it's one-on-one. It's not
Right.
male and female and how
Right.
they should act and how let me understand them. No, it's one-on-one, individual persons.
That's
I
good.
think
Dave.
I think a lot of people's misconceptions is their addiction to entertainment
Yeah.
and the drama of entertainment.
absolutely.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
I agree.
and I think that is what ruins a lot of the dating process. It ruins relationships because they expect it to
Instant
look like it does
gratification.
on TV,
Absolutely.
or they
Whatever
act
the
like
next best
whatever
thing.
it is on
Swipe.
TV.
I mean,
is.
Absolutely. Everything that's learned is not necessarily taught.
Right.
Right.
And once we begin to understand the things that we're watching, that's why they say guard your heart.
Heart.
And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
talking about your eye
gates and ear gates.
Yep.
what you're watching and what you're listening to.
Right.
So I noticed even in dating, my fifth one, I had to give it out. My fifth one is how do they treat other people?
Right.
Oh
Correct.
yeah.
because eventually that's how they're going to treat you.
No doubt.
And so I watch that. Do they gossip?
Right.
Who are
Yes.
they hanging around? What is their core group?
Right.
Because I've noticed that I will see 5, 6, 7 single women that are best friends that are always hanging around, and their ideas and belief system are what's keeping them single and always hanging out because of how they speak about men. So you
Right.
always have to be fixated on how do they treat the waiter?
Right.
Yeah.
Do they tip?
Right.
Yep.
Because that's a hard issue. You realize that.
Exactly.
They're not willing to give up money
Right.
to someone else. They have an hard issue.
Yeah.
And blaming on bad service. But there's always an external blame. So at the end of the day, guys, we are almost done. This hour goes by so fast. We're gonna do more of this.
BG ain't giving up no cookies. She said, "Go ahead."
We're gonna do more of this. I think that these discussions are real cool because you get to hear perspectives that are real, they're transparent, and they're honest. I think the one thing that I've taken from tonight is that women like transparency, and it's something that you just need to have. Vice versa, I think men like it too. But I think for me as a man, staying transparent. And here's what I found: when you are, it now is a decision on their part as to what they do. Because if I'm transparent, last question for tonight, if the person's transparent and they're being honest, can you overlook some things?
Yeah.
If they're over, so,
Depends on what
but you
those-
could overlook some if they're being honest.
Yes.
Okay, because I think for most people, transparency, the fear is if I say this, then I don't even have a chance.
But to communicate about it is important.
Right.
Because at least now I know, and it's not something that's a surprise later.
Yeah.
Especially if it ends up being like years later. Like
Right. I got you.
my last serious relationship, there was a whole lot of surprises years later.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
and it did not.
Right.
I was, and it was one of those things where you kind of trust in your gut. Like I knew
Right.
things weren't right. I
Right.
did see
Right.
some things, and I was like,
Right.
no, let it slide. But then finding out later was like, why didn't you just tell me that?
Right. Right. I got you.
Because then it ruins it. I mean, it's like it's this trust thing. You
Right.
weren't you weren't honest with me,
Right.
and it's a hard feeling. It's hard to bounce back. I mean, a lot of women and guys have a hard time letting their guard down just because of their past, and then
Right.
you let your guard down, that comes up, guards right back up.
Absolutely.
Right back up.
And I think, and I wanted to say that. Like, most of the time when a man does not say something, it's based off of his past reactions that he's received from other women.
Right.
Or based off of how you react to situations. And so many times we won't say certain things. You lied about it. No, because truthfully we understand your reaction, so we're hiding from that. There's no
Right.
place in the Bible that says you can change another person. Right?
Nope. It's all
One
about
place,
you.
only one place. And it says how a woman's actions could
Can
change
change
the man
Right.
and teach him how to love.
Right.
So now, if a woman is just as hard as a man, how can you teach that man how to love? It's impossible.
Right.
That's very true.
Non-negotiables tonight. Transparency is a non-negotiable. Loyalty is a non-negotiable. Trust is a non-negotiable. Is sex a non-negotiable?
Listen,
Question
man.
is that?
I just mess with y'all. I want to see y'all faces as I ended this
I
thing.
grew up on, I'm not gonna lie. I grew up on Too Short. My uncle had me in that truck pumping that Too Short, and I haven't been right since.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Erica, Jennifer, thank y'all so much. We appreciate y'all. We're going to do this again. This is fun. I am the real GM, Grayson Marshall Jr., the metacognition maven. They got to get you to believe in you. And my man,
I am Dr. Adrian, never forget the A Gentry, the guy that helps you choose excellence in every part of your life.
we'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Keep commenting, keep sharing this. Send us a topic, and we'll be sure to address it. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you again next week. God bless.
In a historically industrial building in St. Augustine, there's a cool craft taking place with a vintage vibe.
We realize that we're cocktail nerds.
Step into the Ice Plant Experience, an authentic taste of the 20s. Here, cocktails are serious business.
We do everything vintage style, handcrafted, hand cutter ice. We use fresh juices, house-made syrups, tonics.
Settled into a lovingly preserved building, an original ice plant that operated to support the local fishing and shrimping industry from the 1920s. days. This bar and restaurant freezes a moment in time for you to drink in. There's a seasonally inspired menu of scrumptious farm-to-table dishes and architecture to stretch your neck. But their specialty, of course, is ice.
Because it's really important if you're serious about cocktails. The idea being that the ice is extremely clear and pure and